When you hear the name Richard Pina, the first thing you think of is he must be a Latino man. Second thing you think of is this is probably the only kingpin in America that thoroughly corrupted an entire police force. He had the police robbing drug dealers for him. He had police selling drugs. He had police killing police. And when he went to federal prison, he was still selling drugs to the drug addict inmates, generating hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's not much information known about Richard Pina, but I was blessed to have a first-hand account from somebody who actually was there when Richard Pina attempted to break into the music industry. The year is 1994. The account that you're about to hear from, a regular engineer, he didn't know who Richard Pina was, but he could sense something. Something was something about him that was not normal. Check it. And this is an exclusive on the Daily Bizzled. Shout out to John Sloan for this account. Hi. In reference to Richard, I've got nothing on myself to promote, but I can tell you everything I remember about him in that time, 92 to 94. I have nothing bad to say about him. I asked him, what was his mannerisms like? Did Richard carry himself like a African American? Because everybody knows that New Orleans is a black city, black gangsters, black projects. It's very odd for a Latino man to be the king of everything in the criminal world, to run the police force, to run the streets. He said no. You could tell he had a lot of pride about his heritage. What I remember is he was glad to work together with the other rap producers that I believe they had formed an umbrella parent company for, Todo por Todo, which means all for one, one for all. One of the record companies was a guy named Roderick. I think he worked with MCL. His appearance was a little streety, but he was very sharp, very smart. I told him about a book he should read on the music business, told him about the author. He did not write it down, but the next time I saw him, he had the book and thanked me for hipping him to the book. I liked him. He was very kind, friendly, and a positive man. I heard he was murdered. The other guy was Mitch. He worked with the Ghetto Twins, which is a group out of NO. Mitch was very cool as well, always positive and friendly. Never heard of him again until 1994. Richard was serious about doing whatever he could to have success in the music business. He wanted it. To have one of his artists have a hit record was his dream. The Cats he backed were a mixed group, black and Spanish. They rapped in Spanglish, English and Spanish. They would come to the studio. Richard, his crew, and the hip-hop group worked for 6 hours and jet. Richard didn't produce. He hired guys for that. I played a little guitar and bass and engineered. He would just watch us work. He wanted a hit. I didn't know anything about his personal business outside of the studio, but something in the vibe scared the holy shit out of me. As I said, those two guys of his stood guard in front of the room watching the whole sessions. One of them really freaked me out, and the only way I could deal with it was to make small talk with him, develop a casual friendship to see if I should just quit and never show up again. He was cool with me. The other guy was Richard's cousin. Later, he went on trying to produce his own artists. When the bus went down in the Times published photos of Richard and his whole crew. They were all there being sentenced for multiple murders. Scary shit, man. My gut was spot on. Richard always dressed super sharp, silk suits, slacks with nice shoes. He would always slouch back in the chair, untuck his shirt, and sit with his hand tucked in his pants. Wow. Always very slick and classy in a big shot kind of way. He was very confident and smiling, but there was something dark in his eyes. Sometimes he would have a serious look, and that is what I guess scared the SHAT out of me the most. There are some other stories I heard, things I was told, but too much to type. Now, this is the only update of Richard Pina. The first-hand account. No, there's no information on Richard Pina. Everything is regurgitated. There's only one image of him, the one that you see in the thumbnail. He's an enigma. He's an unknown guy. Unique Mecca Audio was in prison with him. He told Unique, hey, when you're a drug dealer in prison, the guys in your gang, the guys in your group try to get you for some of the drugs. They want you to pay them because if a riot jumps off, they have to put their life on the line. They're not going to put their life on the line for you and your drugs. You understand? So if somebody doesn't pay you the money and you need your boys to help you fight them and a race war ensues, they have to be compensated or they won't fight. Richard said, file chapter 11, pretend to be broke. Get money, stay on your cell, don't eat big bowls of food. He basically gave him advice on how to get money in prison and stay on the low. And yes, they sell drugs in prison to inmates, not selling drugs in prison to the outside. They sell drugs to inmates, and they make a lot of money. So appreciate John Sloan for this first-hand account about Richard Pina.
the enigma.